Hello, hello, friends. Welcome. So as you can see, here is my project for today, and says, "Eek, I see you," and it's a Wobbler card. And then when you open it up, it says, "Peekaboo, Happy Halloween." So I just love how this one turned out. So let me show you the products that I used to make this one. And I have to say that kind of the impetus for this card was this lovely Halloween inks paper. It's they're obviously made with like alcohol ink backgrounds, and then they've put things in it. But when I saw this, I immediately thought of eyeballs. So I don't know if anybody else had that reaction, but I thought of this particular stamp set as soon as I saw this paper. So I quickly got online and ordered it for myself, and I just love how the final card turned out. I was kind of going for an eyeball that would both blend in and pop out. So hi Shauna, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. It's great to see you. So this stamp set is called Ice Cream, and you've got the ice cream, you got like a cyclops skull, about just Halloweeny eyeballs. I did on the inside use the Happy Halloween from the new Haunted Sentiments. I put a fun kind of funky edge around using the Extreme Postage stamp set or die set. I decided at the last minute to add the eek word just to kind of give it a more Halloweeny vibe. And then, of course, like I said, the Halloween ink papers. So those are what I used. And let's get started. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut a side folding, but it's going to be top folding, but in the landscape position for our, oh, do you have this one, Shauna? The ice cream stamp set? It's so fun. You know what, Shauna, do tell me in there in the chat, would you want to see me color the eyeball? Because I have one colored up already, but it's really fast and easy to color, so I could do it if anybody would like to see that. But I went ahead and made the A2 size card. Went ahead and cut the postage stamp, the largest die in that set. I went ahead and cut that out of a bright lime green. Get that glued on here. There we go. And then I have picked out two different of the Halloween inks from the paper to kind of see, to cut myself a background. And I'm going to do this with a die, but if you wanted to just cut it out with a paper trimmer, it measures 3.5 by 4 3/4. Okay, thank you, Shauna, for letting me know. I definitely have time. I will go ahead and we'll stamp one of those when we get to stamping, and we'll color it up. So I do have one colored, so we can kind of move this around. That we could put it like this on this one that's got a little bit more of that. And then, oh boy, that one's a little more busy. Just so many options. Whew. He kind of gets lost on there. Oh, thank you, Shauna. Okay. Well, it's so hard to decide. I think I'm going to go with this one that's got a little bit more orange, just to kind of see, because the first one that I did had more of the greens and blues, and I kind of wanted to try it and see how it looked here with more of the oranges. So I think I'm going to cut it out from right here. There's just so many options. This paper pad comes with so many beautiful inky backgrounds that, and several of them have this color palette. So it's fun to decide. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just cut that out. And I'm going to run this through my die machine real quick. And no matter where you placed it and cut it out, I'm sure it would look fantastic. But doesn't it just look like eyeballs? I don't know. That's what I thought. You'll have to let me know if that was your impression when you saw it. All right. All right, so we have our background ready. And we do have a little bit of stamping to do, both on our inside. We'll go ahead and stamp an eyeball as well. Let me go ahead and glue this onto our background here. That way our card base will be all ready to go when we get our coloring done. And let's see. Yeah, I think this way. Trying to decide. Yeah, I want it this way. Because I want my ink word is, or my eek word is cut out in orange. So I wanted the more blue color up here, so my ink, or my eek, I keep saying ink instead of ink, but they're very close together. Okay. All right, so this is all ready to go. We'll set those aside. And, oops, there we go. So I already have my sentiments lined up here in my paper, or my stamping platform. Let me just see if I got that. Yeah, pretty good. I think I'll move that down just a hair. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp these, and then we'll stamp our eyeball and do some coloring. All right, so there's our inside sentiment. I'm gonna stamp that in black. And I'm going to do our, I noticed this didn't go all the way. We'll do that in a second. Whoops. I moved it down too far. I'll turn that over. And there we go. Okay. All right, this color orange is just a dark orange color, and I'm just stamping it multiple times so I get a nice dark impression. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. I think it's a little thicker than the other one, so that's why I'm getting, take that out. There we go. All right. Now that we have that all done, the rest of this card comes together really quickly, so we definitely can do some coloring. I'm just going to pull these off real quick, and we'll grab the eye. Paper here. Oops, put it down. All right, now I'm going to stamp this one in some alcohol-friendly ink. Oh, I'm so Winnie, I'm so glad you're here live as well. And Shauna, you're sweet to say you've learned any coloring from me, but Wendy is definitely an excellent colorer. I learned so much from her. That's why sometimes I'm intimidated to color online, because there's so many incredibly talented folks out there. But no matter where you are in your journey of any of these skills that for card making, you know, whether you're a beginner or just starting out, it is for fun. So I try to just color away, and I figure we all get better over time, right? We all just the more you do it, the better you get. So all right, to color the, what would you call it, the bandages, I used YG05, YG03, and YG01. And because they're pretty small areas, I just start with my darkest and work towards my lightest. So over here on the edges, I put in some of that YG05. And then also any place where the bandages kind of overlap, I'm adding a little bit of that YG05. Or if the stamp gave it natural shading, you know, the lines of the stamp, I went ahead and put there. All right. Now for the YG03. And you know what? I also used some of the YG00. Started looking at it. I'm like, you know what? I think there was another color. So again, on all those right up to where they overlap, I'm just adding some of that darker color. Especially some of these that are down towards the bottom. Oops, I forgot this one. Adding in a little of that. Now the YG00, I'm going to pull that out towards the center. Still leaving some white space in there. And then anything else I'm going to do with the YG00. Because I definitely want some of that light color. Now, just to finish it off, I'm going to come back with the YG05 and just darken up right over there at the edges and some of those places where it comes together. And somebody told me once, like your lights look lighter when your darks look darker. So there's something about that contrast that kind of just adds an extra zing to your coloring, I guess. And so sometimes if you come back and darken those up, it makes your lighter colors look even lighter. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, for the eyes, for the eyeball, I'm using YR18, YR15, and YR12. And then for the little veins, I come back and do those in the YR09. So again, I'm going to start over here with my darkest. Just kind of trace around there. And YR15, pull that on out. I'm going to trace, whoops, I got some in the eye. Just kind of blending that out. And then to get my lightest color, I'm going to use the YR12, and I'll go ahead and color that in. Now I'm coming with the YR09 just to add that darkest color on those little veins that are coming out. And same with all these drips, I'm doing those all in my darkest color. And the same way, I'm going to come back with my YR18 and just going to flick out a little bit more to get that edge. There we go. All right, so hopefully that, forgive that little spot right there, but normally if I was doing this for my card, I would come back with my 0 and kind of clean that up and let it dry and then come back and finish my coloring. But since we're live on air, I'm just going to go over it with the blue so that we don't have to wait on it. For the eyeball, I'm using BG09, BG05, and BG01. And I'm going to start on the outside edge, just giving that really dark edge around the eyeball. Then I'm going to come in with my next color, and I'm kind of going right over the top of it and bringing it out. And then I'm also just coloring right up close to the eye. Just a very thin little round around the eye. And now with my lightest color, I'm just going to blend that all together. I'm going to go over it a couple times just to get that to blend. Now, in the same way as the green, to make your lights look lighter, if you come back and kind of double up on those darks, that's when all of a sudden that eyeball is like really staring at you. by reinforcing the dark color, it's going to make your light color really pop. And there you go. That's all I did to color up my eyeball. So yes, that flicking does make a lot of difference. It just kind of helps blend it. And I didn't get my oranges blended quite as well as I did on the ones I did earlier. You know, when I'm sitting and coloring just by myself, I kind of, it's easier for me than when I'm doing it on camera. But these are the colors and the methods that I kind of use to get it. So, all right. The other thing I did, so now I cut the eyeball out by hand, and I didn't leave any white edge. I cut right up to it. All right, I am going to use one of these large wobblers, which I'm going to put on the back of my eye. Now for my I see you, I'm going to kind of cut those apart, mount them on black, and then we're going to pop them up. Since my eye is on a wobbler, it just made sense to kind of pop up these other pieces so it's not so low. Now I'm going to use the back side of this piece to do just a little bit of blending on my letters. And I have cut out these letters 3 times in an orange cardstock and glued them together, so it's got a little more dimension to it than just one layer. I'm using that same orange color that I used to stamp, and I'm just going to add some shading to the bottom of my letters. Okay. Okay, just like that. All right, I have a little piece of black here. I'm going to go ahead and frame or mount all these on some black, and I'm just going to cut them by hand. They're such tiny little pieces. And I just want them to have, you know, a black outline so they show up well on my card here. I believe it was Jen Shirkus who calls this word fetty on your cards when you cut them up and kind of arrange them. Not to steal her term, but once you kind of hear it, you start thinking about it that way. All right, there we go. Well, I have some foam here. Just going to put that on the back of each piece. All right, I think we're about ready. Before we glue on the outside, I'm going to go ahead, flip this over. No one will ever know that our ugly stuff is on the back there. Glue that here on the inside. Now, I thought if I had like a little stamp of just like little eyeballs that it would be fun to kind of put that. I didn't think of that until later, so I didn't really look through my sets to see if I had that, but I think that would be fun. So, okay, let's go ahead and put our wobbler on. Go ahead and put this in, put the pin in there, okay. All right, these sometimes can be tricky to get off, so I like to use my pokey tool to just kind of get up under the paper and pull it off. And I also like to add some glue because I don't know what company makes these, but sometimes the adhesive is not really very good. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the back side of our eyeball. And there we go. And same thing. I'm going to add a little bit of glue onto that adhesive. And then you do have to pay attention because of the drips of this eye, but I'm going to put that right here in the corner. And let's see, I have a little block here I'm going to set on it if I can find it. Where's my little block? Just going to set that right there to kind of hold that down while we arrange our eek word. Oh, well, is that Miss Mary Gunn that's in the chat with us? Hello, Mary. I hope you're having a great day. Let's put the K on here. And we'll add our exclamation point. All right, let's add our going to kind of have these go, oops, don't want them upside down. There we go. Kind of like that. I think that'll do. All right. So, look at that. I love these colors, but there's one thing that I came back to do that I think really adds the last touch of pizzazz. I don't know if you can see on this one, but see on the eye there? I have gone and added the crystal lacquer just on the eyeball and let that dry overnight. And I think that really just adds the last little element to this card that brings it to life. So I use crystal lacquer, but if you have some of the other products that kind of do a similar thing, and I'm just going to put that just right around the eye there. All right, and then I'll just let that dry overnight. We won't wobble this one because we don't want to get the lacquer outside of the eyeball. But that's my card for today. It's just so fun. This is addicting. I love the way that eyeball just kind of pops up off of that beautiful inky background, and the lime green and colors. The colors in this really spoke to me as well. So I'm glad. It seems like y'all are enjoying this one. I'm so glad. Well, if you are interested in any of these products, you are welcome to use the affiliate links that are below the video. I highly recommend grabbing this inky paper because it is so fun to play with. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to crafting with you again very soon. Have a great one. Bye-bye.